Welcome, everybody. John Zager. Good morning. How is everyone? I hope all are well and fine and had a nice evening. Here in Colorado, we had some interesting weather last night. It sort of developed and ended up in some parts of town. They got really vicious hail and damage. It's not uncommon in Colorado on the eastern slope to have that happen in the springtime. But, in other parts of town it was just maybe some rain and pea-sized hail or something like that. So it was kind of cool. Today it's clear. Supposed to be up into 70, 76, 78, I think, today. So it ought to be a pretty beautiful day. Kind of had a lot of fun talking yesterday about our programming and said that I would be doing maybe a series, maybe a few podcasts about the programming because it is such an important part, and wanted to continue with that again today. I went back and listened to more Dr. Bruce Lipton on YouTube talking about programming. The man's a genius. Gosh, how do you describe him? He's a biologist. Taught in medical school for a long time. I guess it was the University of Wisconsin. I wasn't sure yesterday, and I found out it was the University of Wisconsin. And then, of course, went out to and did research on stem cells. That's actually where everything changed about genes. He was saying that it was back in 1970 when he did the stem cell research that contradicted disease as a result of genes. The other interesting thing he said, I took a few notes, and I kind of want to, as I did yesterday, talk about some of the information that he passed on. It's just so vitally important. All I can say is please go listen to his YouTube presentations. This one is an interview. It's an hour, almost 2 hours, with London Real. The guy who does the interviews is an engineer out of MIT who lives in London. But he's superb. He's very knowledgeable, very smart, and able to connect A and B, and doesn't ask any dumb questions. But I did take notes, and I'm going to reference to some of them because they're just noteworthy. Genes are inside of cells, he was saying. I did not know that. I'm not a biologist, nor an MD, so of course it's stuff that I learn along with you guys and my research, and then I just pass it on, hopefully, so that it's helpful for you. He talked about there is not a gene in existence that is a cancer gene. I heard that yesterday, actually, but I didn't know that was true. It's fact, it's science. And the way a person acquires cancer, I'm going to generalize this one, is based on how you live your life. And your beliefs and perceptions, or your program, or your subconscious. So, we've talked about this. I'm just going to touch on it real fast. So, mother's third trimester through age. We're going to start saying 7. I had always said 6, but I'm going to start saying 7. First 7 years of life. You're basically in theta. Beta is just what we're doing right now. Alpha is slowing down your brain waves a little bit. Theta, which is hypnosis. Delta, which is deep sleep. REM sleep. Dream sleep. Mind that. Sorry about that, you guys. And gamma, of course, is upper beta, to where you're just processing loads of information. It can look like seizure, can be seizure, but it's generally not seizure, and what we're dealing with, you and I are dealing with in our program. It's just a lot of brain activity with downloads. So anyway, he was saying that there is no cancer gene. It's based on your behavior. And by that, what he's saying is behavior, your program, which is your beliefs and perceptions that you received the first 7 years of life, because you were basically in hypnosis and just absorbing everything. And then you go on to live your entire life in your program. I think that's where people fall off the wagon there. They're not in agreement with that statement, and actually that statement is 100% accurate. I mean, scientifically, they've proven it. So what that means is that, you know, your subconscious is 95% of your day, 95% of your life. 70% of the 95% is entirely stress. And the stress produces the stress hormone, cortisol, which shuts down your immune system and constricts core blood flow in your arteries and veins, and sends all the blood out to the extremities because you're in fight or flight. So if you're being chased by a saber-toothed tiger and you have an internal disease that needs your attention, if you're living your life in stress, fight or flight, you're not going to get any blood to heal all the good genes, to heal the disease, and it's all going to go out to your extremities. The other thing that was fascinating he talked about was, let's see, when, I want to get this right, when they go to do an organ transplant, your immune system is built to reject anything that can be deadly to your system, right? Wants to kill bad genes. So when you're putting in a foreign organ from another person, they give you stress hormones, cortisol, so that it shuts down the immune system, which allows the transplant to occur without rejection. Whew. Huh. Way over my head. I think this stuff is just miraculous. So that's just phenomenal. A greater intelligence somehow keeps us alive. Yeah, boy, you can't disagree with that. So our program determines how we live our life. There's a book he talked about, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I have not read it. I'm going to go get that book today, and I'm going to read it. I guess it's pretty well-known and renowned book by an author that did a lot of research. And what it talks about is kind of what we talked about a little bit yesterday, but not much, is that if you grow up in a rich family, you are programmed the first 7 years as to abundance, wealth, how to live comfortably, just how to succeed, how to never end up in lack. And by lack, I mean all different aspects of lack. When I say abundance, I mean all aspects of abundance, okay? So, in other words, a rich person can't end up in poverty. This is the book now. This is the book based on this author and this author's research. And again, it's viewed as fact. I have to go check the research, but I'm going to present it this way to you because this is how it was presented to me. Likewise, a person that, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, if you're growing up in a poor family with lack, yes, then you are taught the first 7 years of life while you're in this theta brain wave, which is hypnosis, how to live your life in lack. And we'll just say poor people, okay? We're just going to generalize here. We're not trying to. We're just going to say poor people just for ease of conversation. Okay? That's how come poor people always stay poor. They stay poor because they're programmed to stay poor. They don't have any education or training. Remember we talked about that yesterday. So he talks about, but I guess I would add a third one. He says there's 2 ways to change your programming, right? One is through hypnosis, and can't argue with that. Go back and be hypnotized, erase the old program, and put in the new program. Sounds kind of scientific, but it's pretty cool, and it probably does work. The other way is through repetition, Dr. Bruce Lipton says. And repetition is to change the old program, you need to do the new program, new behavior, new program, new belief, over and over and over and over and over again. That's how people learn. One way. And of course, the third one that I'm putting in there is, which, I had mentioned before, is just the whole concept of education and training. The ignorant person just doesn't understand that they're in lack, and they stay in lack. I'm saying that if you educate a person, like myself, like some of you, like some of the people who did not understand this whole concept of being programmed, right? So to speak, you're ignorant. And with education and training, you now no longer are ignorant and you become responsible for yourself and are free to change your beliefs and perceptions and your programming. And if you were in lack, you can now become in abundance. Pretty clear. Okay? So it goes on to say, logic would say that, if you were brought up in lack, therefore you're somewhat ignorant and not responsible for your life, so to speak, because you don't know any better. But as soon as you become educated and trained, then you become responsible for the rest of your life. There are people out there that don't know any better. I say nothing negative towards anybody in this podcast. I'm just observing and stating some insight and facts. I had a cup of decaf earlier. I'm cutting my coffee down to half of what I normally drink and cutting it down to decaf. Right now what I have is a small cup of turmeric tea, inflammatory. It just causes the inflammation to go down. So our programming, now that you guys have all been listening to me diligently, day after day, week after week, month after month, you now have insight and education and a little bit of training. So you now are responsible for your own programming and changing it. And if you were in lack, you can now consciously move into abundance. Yeah? This stuff really isn't that complicated, is it? How Dr. Bruce Lipton differs from Dr. Joe Dispenza is really not, but Joe talks about, pruning apart the neuron connections and reprogramming in new neuron connections, which is how you change your programming. I don't care. Whichever one you guys like is fine with me. I really don't care. I think they both work for me, although I sort of like Dr. Bruce Lipton's approach a little bit better. Neither one is any better than the other. It's just two different ways to say and do the same thing. So it brings us to here we are. I don't even know what the date is, 24th or 23rd or 20-something of May, I think, 2018. And doesn't matter what age you are. If you're a young person listening to me, great. Welcome aboard. You're at an age that you can make these changes, and they'll be very comfortable. If you're in your middle ages, great. If you're an older person or even a senior, perfect. Doesn't matter. Your program was given to you for life. It only can change based on what I just said and the manner in which it can be changed. So, whatever the age, your program can change. I would suggest, this is just me, my view of the world from this perspective, is that I would try repetition. So if there's some aspect of your life that's going well, that means your program was accommodating that need or desire. If some aspect of your life is not going well and you're struggling, then your program is in conflict with where you're trying to go. So you need to erase some of that stuff. You need to identify what it is. Yesterday we used money as the example. You need to sit down and look at all of your thoughts and beliefs and perceptions pertaining to money, and you need to change them. You need to not say and feel and act all of your old beliefs on money. You need to stop using those thoughts and words, phrases, and you need to put in new thoughts and beliefs and perceptions about money that will enhance abundance. And then you need to just do it over and over and over and over again. I mean, it might be a little simplistic, but that's okay right now. That's probably a good idea. Affirmations. Dispenza says no. Lipton says yes. I don't care. If you want to use affirmations a lot, do so. If you can do behavior, like today is kind of interesting. I'm having just one negative thing after another negative thing happen. I don't know. I've probably had 7 or 8 different things already this morning. Incidental things. It doesn't matter. But it's the universe basically saying to me, are you willing to change your beliefs and perceptions about how to deal with this stuff? Example, I go to a place to get coffee, and at 5 o'clock in the morning it's not open, and it's supposed to be, and they say we're running really late, and blah 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 blah, and you have to wait. And the old-fashioned me might be upset and agitated with that. The universe has given me the option to not be that way. 2, go to a second place where I would get coffee, right? and nobody's there. Doors open, go in. Hello, hello. Nobody's there. Wait 10 minutes. Somebody shows up. And I have a choice at that point to be the old me and, be demanding or what's going on around here kind of thing, blah, blah, blah. The universe is saying to me, John, do you want to change your belief system and perceptions about how to handle this kind of situation? That's just 2. But I had like 6 more after that. I went to go to Mass. Here's the third. This is the last one I'll give you. I went to go to Mass at I don't know, 8 o'clock in the morning or something like that. And I'm there a little bit early, not much, a little bit. And there's a Catholic grade school attached to this whole thing. And normally those kids, I don't know, they have sort of a mass for them once a month or something around religious education or whatever. And out of the sky blue, the entire school shows up. And I was just wanting to attend Mass. I wasn't wanting to participate in, the grade schools of hundreds of kids' religious education. So I left. But again, it's the universe saying to me, John, here's an opportunity for you to change your belief and perceptions, and you can either, you could storm out of here really mad, or you could just have a different belief and perception of what's going on and go on to the rest of your day. So anyway, 3 examples. But once you're in the program, the universe will throw you this stuff for the better. Not for the worse, but for the better. And that's very, very cool. So I'm okay with negative stuff going on today. I'm sure I'll get a few more examples, and I'm progressively getting better and better at it. So that's going to be the podcast for today. The takeaway is pretty obvious. We're going to keep working on being programmed and how to get out of the matrix. Dr. Bruce Lipton did talk about The Matrix, the movie The Matrix, and I was very glad that he did. He just said, it's not entertainment, it's a documentary. This is life. And you have a choice whether to take the blue pill or the red pill. And get out of your subconscious and get into your creative mind, your conscious side. Very, very cool. So, God bless everybody. Take care of one another. Look forward to talking to you all again real soon. See you. Bye.